Hello viewers, in our last session we have already discussed basics of VLSI and different VLSI devices for different applications. Now in this session we are going to discuss design flow for DSP and FPGA. Basically there are 5 steps. The whole system design, it consists of 5 steps, and first one is system specifications. Before going into your circuit designing, you should be clear about the specification of that particular design. For example, suppose you want to design an FIR filter, you should know different parameters of that filter, like pass band frequency, stop band frequency, pass band attenuation, stop band attenuation, cutoff frequency. So many different parameters are there with filter design. First of all, you should know all those parameters. Once those parameters are there with you, then the next step is your code development. You have to develop the code for that particular application, and that code development, it include code development either using C, C++, or you can use HDL, that is your VHDL or Verilog language. Next step is, once your code is ready, once you have completed the code, the next step is to synthesize the code. You have to synthesize your code and you have to find out the synthesis results. In this synthesis result, you will be able to select the device for your circuit designs. Means this synthesis, it will tell you the number of resources required for that particular design. So, once this knowledge is there with you, then you can go ahead with your FPGA selection. So, along with synthesis, you have to do the simulation part. By completing this simulation, you will be able to see that whether this design is working according to your requirements or not. Once the logic is according to your requirement, then the next step is PAR, placement and routing. First of all, you have to simulate the design. If that simulation is working as per your requirements, then you have to go for PAR, placement and routing of your design. Once your design is placed and routed on FPGA, then you can see the hardware implementation of your design. Now you can check the implementation of your design on FPGA. Now for this design flow, basically there are 3 methods. There are 3 methods by which you can go ahead with your circuit designing, right. So, this design flow, it include first of all HDL development. HDL development, it include design by the designer. You should have good knowledge of either VHDL, Verilog, or you should have good knowledge of C or C++. If you have good knowledge of any one of these languages, you can go ahead with your code development part. But before this, you should have the specifications, required specifications of your design. One design flow, you have to develop the code. Second one is, we can use core generator. Core generator is present inside the Xilinx ISC software. You can use core generator, that is available in ISC software, but there are some limitations. You can use only those IP cores which are available in this core generator. Means it is not applicable for each and every application. So, best one is your own code development. You can change your code according to your own requirement, you can optimize your code, that is the best choice. If you want to use core generator, then the limitation is there, you will have limited number of IP cores. If you can go ahead with your circuit design using those IP cores, then you can go ahead with your core generator part. Once the core generator is used for your VHDL or Verilog, then you can optimize it according to your requirement. Third one is your system generator. System generator, basically it is used for DSP applications. We can use system generator for DSP applications. So, first of all we will discuss design flow with the help of HDL development, means you are going to design your code yourself. So, in HDL development, first of all you have to write the code in HDL language. HDL stands for hardware descriptive language, and at present there are two types of HDL languages. First one is your VHDL and the second one is Verilog. You can choose any one of these languages depending upon your suitability or convenience, you can say. So, first of all you will generate HDL according to the logic of your circuit. So, you will create this HDL for behavioral simulation. Behavioral simulation means you will check the behavior of your circuit, whether it is according to your requirement or not. So, we will generate HDL for behavioral simulation. Once your HDL code is ready, then the second part is synthesize the code. Now, you have to synthesize the HDL code using synthesizable tools, and what this synthesis will do? It will do the functional simulation of your circuit, and it will create netlist. Synthesis part, it will create netlist. Netlist means number of resources required for your circuit. How many multipliers are required in your circuit, registers, adders, subtractors. So, accordingly on FPGA you have different type of sources, like slices are there, flip flops are there, registers are there, different inputs and outputs are there. So, you will get each and every detail about your circuit through this synthesis report. Okay. So, it checks the function also, function of your circuit. Once your synthesis report is complete, the second one is implementing your circuit on FPGA. How to implement your circuit? This implementation include three parts. There are three things. First one is translation, second one is placement, and the third one is routing. After synthesis result, you will get a file, that is netlist file. That netlist file will be converted into a format that is acceptable by the FPGA, that is translation of netlist file. Once the file is translated, then it will be placed on the FPGA. Whatever resources are required on the FPGA, your circuit will be placed on the FPGA. Once your circuit is placed, then you have to make the interconnection between those circuits. That will be done with the help of your third thing, that is routing. It will route the circuit and you will get the optimized routing of your circuit. So, implementation include basically three things. First is your translation, second one is your placement of circuit, third one is your routing. Once these three things are complete, then this implementation also checks the timing simulation of your circuit. Sometimes you have some timing constraints. When the input signal is coming, after how much time your output should come. If your circuit is not meeting those timing constraints, then you have to optimize the circuit, right. That is your speed up, you are increasing the speed of circuit Suppose you want output of your circuit after say 20 nanoseconds, but you are getting it after 30 seconds, 30 nanoseconds. So, your timing constraints are not met. So, you have to first of all again edit the VHDL code, right, and you have to meet the timing constraints. So, you will check your timing constraints using this implementation. Now, once this implementation is complete, the next step is bit file generation. You have to generate bit file. That bit file will be transferred to your FPGA chip. That bit file will program different parts of your FPGA, and once the circuit is implemented on your FPGA, you can check the hardware implementation, hardware circuit verification you can do. So, this is the design flow. So, second is downloading your circuit into FPGA. This flow is for the designer part, means you are designing your HDL code yourself. Suppose you are taking help of core generator, you are taking help of inbuilt core generator of Xilinx ISC. So, you will use here HDL, you will use core generator of ISC. Okay. Limitations will always be there. If you do not have IPs for that are required in your circuit, you can't design using core generator. That limitation will remain there. We will discuss this in our later slides. What are the different IP cores available in this core generator? So, we can use HDL using this core generator. Then the last three, once your now if you will be able to generate your design using core generator, the next three steps will remain same. So, your VHDL Verilog part is now it has been done by the core generator, but that design will not be the optimized one, right. So, you have to optimize the design. If you will get design from VHDL from core generator, you have to optimize that design. For that again you need knowledge of VHDL or Verilog. So, next three steps are same, synthesis is there, implementation is there, and downloading your circuit onto the FPGA. Now, these are different IP solutions. IP here stands for intellectual property. Intellectual property solutions. So, we have these different IP solutions in core generator, or you can say that in system generator. If your work is concerned with these IPs, then no doubt it will be beneficial for you to use these IPs. So, here you can see that we have some DSP functions, we have some math functions, then base functions, memory functions are there, and now you can see here $sign means these are paid, you need license for these. So, you have to pay for these, and P means these are parameterized functions, and bold functions means these functions are available with your system generator. So, this is basically a combination of both core generator as well as system generator. If your area or your application is based on these, then you can go ahead with this IP codes. Next part is, so there are three design flows. The first one was developing your code by the designer. Second one was code development with the help of HDL coder, core generator, and the third one is your system generator. and this system generator, Xilinx system generator, it is used with MATLAB only. For system generator you need MATLAB software, and compatibility of your this system generator as well as MATLAB software, it should be there. Without compatibility you will not be able to run this system generator. Even you can't load this system generator without compatibility of your MATLAB, your ISE software. Basically for system generator you need 3 softwares. One is your MATLAB, second one is your ISE software, and the third one is your system generator. If all of these 3 softwares are compatible, then you can go ahead with loading part. If any one of these is not compatible, you can't even load the system generator, right. So, these 3 softwares, MATLAB, Simulink, ISE software and this system generator, these should be compatible with each other. Otherwise, this software is very useful for DSP applications, system generator. Now, system generator, either system in system generator you can use MATLAB, you can generate or you can use first M code, you can design your system using MATLAB code. Once your MATLAB code is ready, right, there are so many toolboxes are there in MATLAB. Once your MATLAB code is ready, then that MATLAB code we can interface it with our system generator. One approach is we can go ahead with our MATLAB part. So, your MATLAB coding include, so for that you need M code file. You have to generate, this is just format of your M code. With this M code you can generate or you can plot different application outputs. So, first option with system generator is we can generate, we can write M code and we can interface that M code with our system generator. Second option, but for that we have to write the M code first. You should have good knowledge of that toolbox, particular toolbox where you want to work. So many toolboxes are there in MATLAB. Communication toolbox is there, signal processing is there, image processing there, neural network is there, fuzzy logic is there. So many toolboxes are there in MATLAB. First of all, you should have good knowledge of those toolboxes. Once the knowledge is there, you can write your MATLAB code. After completing your MATLAB code, then you can interface it with system generator. Second option is Simulink. In MATLAB basically you can write M code, but Simulink is model based. You have to create the models in the form of blocks. In MATLAB you have different instructions or you can make your own instructions. In Simulink you have different libraries with different blocks. Different libraries same like communication, DSP, image processing, different libraries are there. You have to select blocks from there those libraries, and first of all you have to make your system using those blocks, and you have to simulate the system using those blocks, and you can check the output of your system. So, different Simulink blocks you can have math sinks, different type of sinks are there, different type of sources are there. So, you can select according to your application. Then different block sets are there, filters, transforms are there, different in communication you have different modulation techniques. So, different blocks are there. Whatever block is required, first of all you have to take that block and you have to take that block in your working area, you have to make the connection between those blocks and you have to create the system out of those blocks. So, with Simulink your system will be like this, it will be in the form of blocks, these different blocks, and you will get your output. Here we are using this scope and here we are using this input wave generator. So, the basic difference between MATLAB and Simulink is, in Simulink you have to write the M code, in MATLAB you have to write the M code, in Simulink you have to create the blocks, you have to make interconnection between blocks. Okay. Now, Simulink FPGA flow. Here you can see, first of all you have system architecture, you have some requirement of your system, whether you are working in communication field, image processing, digital signal processing. First of all you should have some specifications of your system design. Once your specifications are there, you will create block, and that block is known as model, Simulink model. So, first of all what you will do, you will create Simulink model here. If it is working successfully, then we can eliminate this part, FPG designer part. Then we can use system generator for generating VHDL and Verilog. So, in this case also these two will be removed. We will get one approach is this one, we are using system designer is there, he is generating HDL code and then synthesis, implementation and download. And the second approach is we are going with system generator. Now, we have to implement our design in the form of model. This model, if it is verification is fine, it is working all right, then it will create VHDL or Verilog code. Then we will come to the third step. This step is over now, VHDL part. So, you have options, either you can go for VHDL or Verilog programming, or you can go for system generator. Again, for system generator also you should have very good knowledge about the system generator software. So, options are there, whatever is convenient for you, you can opt that one. So, if you you are not interested in VHDL Verilog part, then we can go for system generator. But in that case also you should have good idea about each and every block of your system generator, Simulink block. Only then you will be able to configure that block. If your configuration is not correct, then even then you can not run your that model. If your model is not running, you can't go to this step. So, you can select any one of these flows. So, this is your model generation, then here you will generate the VHDL or Verilog code. Then our next part is functional simulation, timing simulation and in circuit verification. So, you can say that system generator or core generator, it is filling this gap, this one, this gap, right. Now, system generator for DSP applications. In MATLAB, we have options. First of all, system generator should be there. Second thing is, now once your model is ready with the system generator, either you can go for its simulation, okay. Either you can go for its simulation, and for simulation two different type of softwares are used, ModelSim and ISE inbuilt simulator. But ISE inbuilt simulator, it will not work here. In case of MATLAB, you can use only ModelSim. Whatever your design is there, you can simulate that design using ModelSim, or there is one more software by Cadence, that is Incisive. So, whenever you are going to open MATLAB, you will find two different blocks. One is linked to ModelSim and one is linked to Cadence Incisive. These are two different softwares now. Once your circuit is ready with system generator, either we can go with direct simulation, we can directly simulate it if we have ModelSim on our system. ModelSim is there or Cadence Incisive, both are similar and both can be used for any application, both are simulators basically. So, here I am just trying to show you this thing. This is your DSP system simulation. First of all, either we can select MATLAB or Simulink. Then this MATLAB and Simulink will be interfaced with the help of this Xilinx system generator. Now, this either by using this Xilinx system generator, either we can go for simulation of model sim. This simulation will be using link to model sim. We can directly link our circuit with model sim, and the other option is we can generate model and we can take that model into our ISC environment. Simulation is part, model sim is for simulation only. One thing we can go for simulation from MATLAB and Simulink, and once simulation is over, you want hardware implementation, then you have to go for ISC environment. Once your simulation is over, the second part is we will use this ISC. By using this ISC software, we will implement our circuit on our FPGA board. So, in this way you can make interfacing between MATLAB, Simulink, system generator, model sim as well as your ISC, right. Now, let us discuss this one. So, your whole DSP flow, design flow, either we can opt for this option, this is your system generator option, or we can go, this is our Simulink model using MATLAB, or we can go for core generator, this is core generator, or we can, this is basically now with system generator. Now, once your this system generator, your circuit is complete, we can go for direct simulation here through link to model sim, or another path is we will implement it using Xilinx implementation flow. Or once your simulation is complete, again you have to implement it on FPGA, or you can follow this path also. So, here you can see this bit stream last step. So, actually what you are transferring? You are transferring 0 and 1 bits in your FPGA, only bits are going into the FPGAs, and those bits program our FPGA. So, last step of our programming is bit generation. So, this is the whole design flow about DSP. Now, I will just give you some idea about how MATLAB can be used in our this flow, how Simulink can be used, and after that ISC software environment. So, first of all MATLAB. Suppose you are making your design using MATLAB using M code. In that case, now I have taken here example of filter, because everyone now knows about filter, digital filters. So, we are designing here low pass filter using MATLAB. For designing this low pass filter, you need design specifications of filter, you need design specifications. Here FC is your cutoff frequency, N is your filter order of your filter, and HF is basically this is the name, and we are designing low pass filter by using only these two specifications. We are just using cutoff frequency and order of filter for making this filter design. Now, for making this filter design, we have different options. We can opt different kind of windows. So, these two designs are based on Hamming window and Dolph-Chebyshev window design. So, these two designs are based on these windows. Now, most important thing in filter design is filter order. Filter order is your length of your filter, number of coefficients required in your filter. So, if for determining this filter order, we should have knowledge about passband ripple, stop band attenuation, transition width, that is your passband frequency and stop band frequency. If we design our same, so we are here defining these different frequencies. This is passband frequency, stop band frequency, passband ripple, stop band attenuation. So, after these different specifications, we are designing this filter using Kaiser window. Now, we want to see whether this Kaiser window design is optimum or not. Kaiser window is very common and it is used, but we have to see whether it is optimum design for our FPGA or not. So, next part is optimal filter design. We are making one more filter using equiripple window technique. Now, we are comparing these two filter designs, equiripple filter design and Kaiser filter design, and you will see that Kaiser filter require more number of coefficients as compared to your equiripple. More number of coefficients means it. So, here you can see the comparison, filter order of Kaiser window is 68 and filter order of this equiripple design is 53. It means that if we will use Kaiser window for designing our filter on FPGA, it need more hardware resources, more number of coefficients, more number of multipliers will be there. So, it will take more number of resources on your FPGA design. And if we optimize it with equiripple design, we can reduce the number of resources for our FPGA, and by reducing the number of resources, we can make our system cost effective. We can map our system on smaller FPGAs also, and we can make our system faster also, right. So, just my idea here was just to show means how to make filter using MATLAB. So, we can write these M code and you will get this kind of response using MATLAB. Next is your Simulink design. As you all know, Simulink design is model based. In Simulink design, you have to use this option. This is for Simulink design. Once you will click this option, you will get this window. Here you will get different number of blocks. So, whatever block is required, you can select that block and you can place that block in your working area. Once all the blocks are selected, first of all you have to select the input, you have to select the output, and you have to select the in between components. Then you have to make the interconnection between those components. Once your model is ready, the next part is your simulation. So, let us say we are making this. Now, we are making same filter design. I am using here random source as input to this filter, and this is our spectrum scope for our output verification. Now, this is our let us say simple filter design. I am making simple filter. So, once your this design, first of all you have to select the blocks, then you have to make the connections. The most important thing is you have to configure those blocks. You have to configure these blocks also. You have to give different parameters. Now, here I am using this random source. It will give input signal at what frequency you want that signal. Suppose I am working at 600 megahertz. So, I will take that input source from and I will define there as 600 megahertz. Whatever is your application, you have to define those components. And block configuration of this FDA tool is you have to define all those parameters, passband, stop band. So, that is that I mean by configuration. You have to configure each and every block. Once your configuration is complete, that next part is your simulation part. So, once the model is complete, run simulation, then you will get this kind of response. In MATLAB, we were getting still response, but here you can get a real time response in Simulink. So, for that purpose I have just made one film, just 1 or 2 minutes film, that will show you the demonstration of this Simulink, how this Simulink works. So, for that, now you can just see this demo. Now, we have 3 blocks. So, after simulating this, you can see this is the output response of the filter. We are using here input, configured input, output is there. We can stop this simulation, then again we can run it, and again after running it you will get the this filter response. So, this is your low pass filter. Means this kind of response you can get from Simulink, right. So, after this Simulink design, so 2 flows, either we can go ahead with MATLAB or we can go with Simulink part. The third one is our ISE project creation. Now, we have generated this filter using MATLAB and Simulink. So, why we are using MATLAB and Simulink? We got those 2 responses, one MATLAB response is still one, Simulink response is real time, but where to use these responses? So, after generating your filter in either MATLAB or Simulink, what you will get? You will get coefficients. First of all, you will get the order of your filter. Let us say the order of your filter is 20. So, filter coefficients will be 21, and you will get exact values of those filter coefficients from MATLAB or Simulink. After getting that exact value of filter coefficients, we can go ahead with our hardware implementation. We can make our HDL code. So, we will use those coefficients for making our VHDL code or Verilog code. That is the main aim of your MATLAB and Simulink. It will give you the order of the filter and you will get exact value of those filters. Once that exact value is there with you, you can go ahead with your HDL part. Then you can write your HDL code. If you can write HDL code with those coefficients, you will see that there is hardware and software outputs both are quite similar. There is means very less error. You can compare both those outputs, right. Now, once you have those coefficients, you have to either go for your HDL code yourself, either designer will design the code. Second thing is core generator, if option is there. Third one is our system generator. So, once you have the code, then we can go for our ISE part. So, these ISE, before going into ISE, let me tell you, this ISE software at present 10.1 version is there, latest one on the net, and from Xilinx site you can download its webpack, www.xilinx.com. its webpack is available, 10.1 version. You can download webpack of this ISE 10.1. Yes, MATLAB should be there with you, that is the main problem. For using system generator, the main problem is MATLAB. ISE you can download from internet, MATLAB you should have with you with compatible version, and system generator also you can download from net. with evaluation version of 60 days. You can use that system generator for 2 months, initial 2 months. So, these things are there on net. You can go to Xilinx site, you have to register yourself. After registering, you can get ISE update, ISE Webpack is there 10.1 latest, and you can use those Webpacks for designing your circuits, right. So, now just I am going to tell you about how to create your circuit using now ISE environment, how to use ISE software in your hardware implementation part, in your FPGA flow. First of all, this is your Xilinx ISE, this is from Xilinx 10.1 version. So, simple thing, first you have to create new project, then here you can give name to your project, like here I have given here RK3, you can give name, you can select path where you want to store the project, and here you can select the source type, whether you want to create HDL source or you want to design your schematic using schematic, there are different options there are. So, either you can go for, in ISE also you have 2 options, you can go for schematic design. In schematic design you will get different gates, different registers. You can use those gates, registers in your working area, and you can make interconnections. From there VHDL code can be generated. If you are not taking that path, the second one is we can select HDL and we can write our own code in VHDL or Verilog. Now, next part is selection of your FPGA device. You have to select the FPGA device, which FPGA device you want to use for your implementation. So, I have selected here some options are there, either basically there are 2 types of FPGAs in use these days. So many other manufacturers are there, but most commonly used FPGAs are based on Spartan and Vertex. These 2 are made by Xilinx. Other FPGAs are also available by different manufacturers, like Altera is there. So, different manufacturers are there in this field. So, you can go for any one of those. If we are here, we are selecting Spartan 3. So, first thing is you have to select the family. We are selecting Spartan 3E. In Spartan 3E, we have different options. We are selecting here this device XC3S500E. XC3S500C means this device contains 500K gates. The number of resources available on this device are 500K gates. If this device configuration is not correct, then you will not be able to implement the circuit on your FPGA. This configuration should be correct. So, here we are selecting first of all Spartan 3, then device is XC3S500C. Its package is FG320, its speed grade is -4, and then we are selecting here HDL. HDL means we are selecting here VHDL or Verilog code, then synthesis tool. Which synthesis tool you want to use for synthesis of your design? XST, this is Xilinx synthesis tool. We are using Xilinx synthesis tool, and then simulator. Whether you want to use ISE simulator or model sim simulator, you can select any one of these simulators. Most of the designers or most of the users, they go for model sim. If you do not have model sim, you think that you can't work on ISE. I can't simulate my circuit because I do not have model sim, but that is not the case. Very few people knows that ISE has inbuilt simulator in it, and you can use that inbuilt simulator, and there is no need of model sim. right. So, if you do not have model sim, we can go ahead with our inbuilt simulator. That is why I am going to show you this ISC simulator. Now, once it is complete, then the next thing, now I am just taking one example, I am just taking one example of XOR gate. I will just take this example XOR gate and I will tell you each and every step how to go further with its design. So, just here select here new source, give name to file here and select here VHDL module, because we are going to write our program in VHDL. So, select VHDL module, now after selecting VHDL module you will get this window. This window is for IOs. You have to select inputs and outputs required in your circuit. Let us say I am going to design XOR gate. So, XOR gate need 2 inputs and 1 output. So, in our input part I am just writing here XY, XY is selected as input and Z is selected as out. So, select here inputs and outputs and click finish. Once that portion is over, you will get in sources window you will get this icon RKXOR. Now, this is a file that is generated by me, this is my file. Now, RKXOR is my file, and by double clicking this one, you have to double click, you will get this window here, and you can edit your program here in between begin and end. Just I am writing here Z, Z is our output, I am assigning value to output is equal to X, X or Y. Z is assigned a value of X, that is our input, XOR and Y. Now, for XOR gate, this is my VHDL code is complete, code editing is complete. Once it is complete, then the next part is check syntax. After writing your program, you have to check the syntax of your program. If your program has any error, you will see those errors in this check syntax. So, before going further, first of all you have to remove the errors. So, it is very important part of your ISC flow, you should check the errors of your program. If there is any error, you can't proceed further from this point. First of all, you have to eliminate the error. Suppose if error is not there, so you have to check the syntax, double click this one, you will get this green check mark here. It means that your check syntax is complete and there are no errors in your program. It means that you can go ahead with your next part. First is code writing, second is check syntax, and then next is your implementation part. Now, our editing is complete, there is no error in our editing, now we can proceed further. So, after completing your this program, next thing is simulation, synthesis part and simulation. After synthesizing, you will get resource generation. Basically, there is only one gate, XOR gate. So, that is why I have not done that part, synthesis part, only one gate is there. Just we will go with simulation part, because we are using ISC as our simulator. So, for simulation, again go to your project RK3, right click on this project, you will get this window. In this window, select this new sources. Again you will get this window, here you have to select test bench waveform for ISC. Test bench waveform means we can generate here our own test bench, and that test bench later on we can use in our simulation part. select test bench. Let us say I want to give name it as test bench, so just give the name as test bench. Now, after clicking this one, you will get this window. Now, here you can select whether you create test bench for sequential circuit or you want to create test bench for combinational circuit. Now, XOR gate is combinational, so we can go ahead with here. You can see combinational. Select combinational. Here you can change its value to 3000 nanosecond, means you want to run this simulation for this much time, 3000 nanosecond. So, I am just giving here time as 3. So, select combinational, test bench is 300 nanosecond and then click finish. After finishing this one, you will get a window. Here you have to create the test bench. Now, you can see here, this is x, this is y, this is z, right. Now, this waveform I have generated from my own. I am generating one waveform for x, another waveform for y. Input I have generated, output I will simulate, right. So, I will generate this x, this is my own generated wave, again y is my own generated wave, and I will keep this output as it is, because I have to check my circuit whether it is working according to XOR gate or not. So, I will keep this as it is and save your test bench and exit this window. Now, your test bench creation is complete. You have created your test bench. Once your test bench is created, you will get one file with extension TBW. So, here you can see this one. So, before simulation also, earlier we were working in implementation part. Now, you have to change to behavioral simulation. So, you have to select here behavioral simulation. In behavioral simulation, you will get this test bench, and this is the test bench that we have just created, right. And in below this window, you will get this ISC simulator, because you have selected ISC simulator. If you have you will go for model sim, you will get model sim icon. So, Xilinx ISC simulator is there. By just double clicking this one, you have to double click this one, ISC simulator will simulate your circuit and you will get waveform in this form. These two waveforms are generated by us, and this is the result output of these two waveforms. Now, here you can see this blue marker means these two values are for this blue marker. At blue marker input is 1, these two inputs are 1 1 and output is 0. So, it is verifying our XOR gate. So, here you can see this is going up, right, it is going up, this is also going up. So, both are 1 and your output is going down. So, this is 0. So, this is your behavioral simulation using ISC simulator, right. So, I will recommend that if you do not have model sim with you, do not get panicky, you can go ahead with ISC simulator and it works very fine. You will not get any problem with ISC simulator, right. Now, for this whole process, again I have one film. Now, here you can see different steps in this film. I am creating here project name. Now, you have to enter here project name, this one. Now, here you have to configure the device. This icon is for device configuration. Then new, here you have to give the file name, and here you have to select the VHDL module. Next. Now, this is for input. Now, I am selecting X and Y as my input and I am selecting Z as my output. out, right. Finish, you want to create directory, yes, and then next, next and finish. Now, after finishing this one, you will get here, now you can see XOR your own created file RK XOR here, and by double clicking this one you will get this window. Here you have to just write Z, assign it value X XOR Y, and next step is our syntax checking. Check syntax, you want to save, yes. So, in check syntax it should be, there should be no error. Now, you can see here process check syntax completed successfully and green mark is there. Now, once it is complete, again select, go to new source and create test bench for your file. Just give name, I am giving here name as test bench, select test bench here, with which file you want to create in this test bench X RK XOR. Here select combinational, length of your simulation we can select 3000, finish, and you will get this window. Now, here you have to create the waveform for X and Y. Now, I am creating waveform for X and Y. Then for second input, after creating this waveform, now you have to save it. You have to save this test bench file. Do you want to save? Yes. So, you will get here. Now, here you have to change implementation to behavioral simulation. Earlier we were working in implementation part. Now, you have test bench, this file here. We are going to properties, okay, everything is fine. Click OK here. One more thing, you can create, you can generate own means self test bench from simulator. Now, double click this simulate behavior model. After some time you will get here simulation results. So, from here you can see this is 1, this is 0, result is 1. After this window we can run simulation from this icon. You can simulate, you can run simulation of your project. So, we are running our simulation. Here you can see the time in nanosecond. Then just stop it and view your results. So, here you have two icons, zoom in, zoom out. You can select zoom options. Now, you have this simulation, these results. So, I am clicking here. So, here it is 1 0, your output is 1. So, I am getting here 1 0 and 1. So, there this is completion of your simulation part, right. Now, once your simulation is complete, the next part is implementing your circuit in hardware now. Now, simulation is working according to me, it is working as per my logic. So, there is no problem. The next part is now hardware implementation of my this simulation. Now, first step in hardware simulation is you have to create UCF. UCF is your user constraint file. For hardware implementation, you have to create UCF, that is your user constraint file. In this file, you have to define the IO pins of your FPGA. Means what are those IO pins that you are going to use in your logic. So, UCF creation is your defining your IO pins. For UCF creation, you have to select this floor IO pre-synthesis and double click this one. Now here you can see, you will get this window. After this UCF, you will get this window, and here I am selecting 2 input addresses of my FPGA and 1 output address. These 2 input addresses are, first one is your L13, L14 and output is F12. These addresses should be accurate. Whatever FPGA you are going to use, you have to select these addresses as per those FPGAs. If this configuration is not correct, again you can't go further. It will not take these inputs, incorrect inputs. So here we are using L13 and 14 as inputs and output is F12. These are pin numbers of FPGA, and you have to specify exact pin numbers of FPGA. Yes, you can change it. Whatever available pins are there on FPGA, you can use any one of those pins. But here in this design I am using only L13, L14, F12. These can be different. It depends upon the designer. Means what number you are going to use in your, which pin you want to use in your logic. So once it is complete, just save this file, UCF file. Once your UCF file is saved, the next thing is, you can see, next is implement design. Either you can click this one, double click, or you can double click generate programming file. If you double click generate programming file, it will automatically implement your design, right. Generate programming file is your bit file again, file in the form of zeros and ones. Implementation means it will do the mapping part, place and routing, and then third is your implementation after that. So click generate programming file. After generating this bit file, once your bit file is ready, then you have to connect the FPGA board with your PC. Now up to this part there is no need of board, FPGA board, hardware is not required. Now once your bit file is ready, it will create one bit file with extension .bit. Now we have to download that bit file onto FPGA. Before downloading that file on FPGA, your board should be on, FPGA board. Make your board on, and after making your board on, just click this one, configure target device. Configure target device means, now it will ask you connect to cable automatically, or you want to select, just select connect to cable automatically and select next. It will automatically connect to the cable, and it will transfer that bit file onto your FPGA. So basically you are just transferring 0 and 1s on your FPGA, nothing else. Those 0 and 1s will make different interconnections. One means you are making that interconnection, making connection between that point. 0 means it is open. So after now here you can see, after configuring your device, you have to select the bit file, which bit file you want to transfer. So I am selecting here xk xor.bit file. So in this software it is already generated by that generate bit file. The generated bit file is RK XOR with extension .bit. I will select this RK XOR.bit here, select open, then you will get these 3 devices on your screen. These 3 devices are, first one is your FPGA, second one is your cool runner, and the third one is flash memory. So first one is our FPGA, we will select FPGA, right click on FPGA and select program. After selecting this program, if your programming is successfully completed, you will get this message program succeeded. If you are getting error in this message, it means that your program is not complete. Once you will get this message program succeeded, only then it means that your program or your those bits have been transmitted from your computer to FPGA. Where in FPGA? In SRAM cell. In FPGAs we are using SRAM. SRAM will contain information about all zeros and 1 bits, right. This is the whole procedure for your hardware implementation. This is the setup. Just I want to show the setup, how means you can use FPGA. This is Spartan 3E board, and it is interfaced this with this PC. Here it is showing this simulation on ISC simulator, and we are using, this is the cable. This cable is used to interface this FPGA board with our computer, and it is connected with USB port. USB port. We have options. We can connect our board with the help of USB cable. We also have option of parallel cable. Yes, we can connect our board with parallel cable also, and we have option of serial communication. Basically this is serial communication, and we have option of parallel communication also. So in case of serial communication it will take some time, in case of parallel it will be fast, means your bit transfer rate it will be fast. So this is the setup basically for your whole ISC, Spartan 3E and computer. Then now let me take all the things together. Now from where to start? We are starting our design from VHDL code initially. Design steps now. Once we have VHDL code, basically it is showing VHDL code. The next part is your synthesis. Now I am synthesizing this VHDL code. This VHDL code is synthesized by using CAD tools, and I will get netlist file. Netlist file. Now you have created your netlist file. Next is your implementation. Implementation include mapping, placement, routing, then generate bit stream. After this we will generate the bit stream, you will get a bit stream in this form. This is the bit stream. Next part is download this bit stream into your FPGA. So from here now it should be clear to all of you that what we are transferring actually from our computer to FPGA. We are just transferring these bits to our FPGA. Once these bits are transferred, it means your FPGA is programmed as per your logic. Now you can go ahead with your hardware verification, right. I will show you that hardware verification also. Before that, only 2-3 minutes movie is there on this hardware implementation part only. Now you can see those different steps. First of all, you have to create the UCF file. You will get this window here. Now assign pin numbers of your FPGA. We are assigning here pin numbers L13, L14 and F12. Then save your UCF file. Save it and close it. Next step is generate programming file. If you will double click this generate programming file, it will automatically implement the file. You can see first initially now it is starting the implementation of your design. In implementation you have 3 different options, all these options will come now. Now it is translating, translation is complete. Now here you can see 3 options: translate, mapping, place and route. Green click means there is no error. Now it is placing and routing your whole design on FPGA. It will check for available resources, whether your circuit can be placed on FPGA or not. If placement and routing is not possible, then you will get error. If your circuit can't be placed, if your circuit need more resources than the FPGA has, so it will give you error. Now after that you have to configure the target device. Now I am configuring here automatically connect to cable, and now connecting to down cable. Cable here we are assigning this XOR bit file with FPGA. Cancel this one, it is asking for the next 2 devices. OK. And right click on this one, program, and you will get this message of program succeeded. So now we have transferred our program from computer to FPGA. Now final part is you have to verify this program on FPGA now. That is your physical verification, whether actually it is working or not. So now here, now I am going to show you the physical verification. I have just transferred that XOR program on my FPGA chip. Here you can see these two there are 4 toggle switches, you can see, right. We have 4 toggle switches here, and address, that L13 and L14 address, it belongs to these 2 switches, these 2. So I have used these 2 switches as my input for circuit. So these are my inputs, and this LED, its address is F12. So I am using this LED as output in my circuit. So this is my output. So from here you can notice that the position, just notice the position of these 2 switches. It is at up position, and you can notice it is at down position, right. Up position means 0. Yes, just like toggle switch. Up position means off, down position means high. So its up position means it is 0, and it is at down position it is 1. So 0 1 means our output should be 1. So our LED is high. So our XOR gate is verified, right. So this is the whole procedure, how to go ahead with your MATLAB programming, then your system generator using Simulink, then how to use ISC. So by adopting this flow, we can design any DSP circuit. We can go for communication side also, we can do it in image processing. So lots of areas are there. If we have good knowledge of VHDL or Verilog, we can choose that one, or we can have expertise in system generator. So means combination of softwares is there. Wherever you feel comfortable, you can select that path for your design flow. So in this whole DSP to FPGA design flow, choice is yours. You can select any choice. You can go for your own VHDL code, you can go for your core generator option, or you can go for system generator, but in depth knowledge is required. So now our DSP FPGA's flow is now it is over. So I thank you all.